It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
Hello, basketball fans. I'm Ernie Johnson, welcoming you to 2K Sports. I'm here with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. Tonight, we'll be watching the Minnesota Timberwolves playing against the Detroit Pistons. Looking at the Pistons, they've got an opportunity tonight to sweep the season series 2 wins to none. The coaching staff commented that they feel confident coming into this one. And some of the best guards in the league facing off tonight, different skill sets, different styles. Kenny, if you had to build a guard from scratch, what are some of the characteristics you'd look for?
Oh, no question. I'd take the shooting touch of Steph Curry. I'd take the...
He makes it look
effortless. I'd take the toughness of Russell Westbrook. I'd take the basketball savvy of Chris Paul, and I'd throw
You take the defense of...
I'll take the defense of Tony Allen and throw it all together. You wouldn't put that together, Shaq? That's making you tired and sleepy? Wake up!
Is this boring you?
I would want toughness. You have to be able to switch on to certain players, the bigger players, and I would like the leadership.
And give me the size of Michael Carter Williams.
The size of Michael Carter. How about the size of Magic Johnson?
No, that's a little bit too big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because later on in his career.
Huh?
Wake up.
What happened?
Leadership.
Oh, sorry.
And I'll take the ability not to go to sleep like Shaq.
Well, if you answer the question.
The crowd is assembled here at the Target Center in Minneapolis, looking for the Timberwolves to have a victory here on their home floor. And we've got it for you live, right here on 2K Sports. I'm Kevin Harlan alongside Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldridge is our sideline reporter. And also joining us on the sidelines, the league's most valuable player in 2004, Kevin Garnett. KG, it is great to have you with us.
Okay, how you been, man? It's good to see you,
Waiting for you to sit right here next to us. That's what I've been waiting for.
Thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Can't wait to get inside your impressions of this game. It'll be a lot of fun. For the Detroit Pistons, they come in off a good outing against the Indiana Pacers.
Executed on the road, stayed focused, stayed consistent with who you are as a team.
No doubt. I mean, they played to their strengths, and that's what helped them get this road win. I loved how they played for each other.
And a look at the starters for the Pistons. Lure and Drummond together down low. Jackson and Bradley are in the backcourt, and it's Harris in at the small forward position. Now here's Jackson, feeds it to Bradley. Lure a screen on Butler. Here's Bradley. And that one is off. Some solid defense from Butler. Kevin, when you played, we all know how intense you were, how much you cared. That, to me, was the thing that you cared so much about the product, about your team, about the game. But some people have said that maybe there was a streak of you that was mean is maybe not the right word, but you were overly aggressive. But I don't know how you could have played any differently than that.
I call it dialed in.
What?
You know, I like to think that if you're trying to accomplish something, then, you know, I only know one way to accomplish something. You go at it with everything you have.
Yes.
You go to dominate it and take it over. You don't go at something lightly.
Can't walk through the park with this game,
not at all. Not at all. And this game is full of talented elites. Night in, night out, you're playing someone that can typically go for 50 easy.
So true. Kept alive. Jang, the pass to Teague. Towns, a screen on Jackson. Teague kicks to Wiggins. Now the dish to Jang. 4 seconds left. Avery Bradley pulls it in.
Boy, still not quite in rhythm, just 1 for 4.
And Kevin, your last couple years, you got to mentor some young players. Karl Anthony Towns comes to mind. How good do you think he can be?
Cat is the next. He is what I call the next of the next. Yes, he has the pedigree. He has the work ethic. He has the IQ. Most importantly, the desire. You know, when you talk about players being better, I always like to think about if players know history. He understands history. He's been here before. If you follow him through his high school years, he's always wanted to be an anchor. He's always wanted to be a very informative person. He looks for knowledge. He seeks a lot of knowledge. He wants to know what he's up against as far as history. Who am I chasing? What's his number? How many rebounds did he get? What did he do his rookie year? That's what's driving him.
And KG, talk about how the greats can just impose their will.
It's almost like another level.
Yeah.
When you see LeBron, what he did to Detroit in that fourth quarter, that's a blackout. You don't know what you're doing. When you see Kobe go for 81, when you see Chauncey come down on a 1, these players are blacking out. These are elite players in elite moments, taking the moment. Paul Pierce is one of the best that I've ever seen grab a moment and savor it and just put it in slow-mo. And nothing's speeding them up.
Special players.
Special players, but I get a front row seat of seeing that. Ray Allen, the same thing. Had a great composure about himself to slow himself down and hit pressure shots.
Take a break.
Tim Duncan, same thing.
2 shots.
The first one falls. And Harris drops them both.
Boy, he's got a great stroke from the line. That's not something we can say about all the league's big guys.
Kevin, what a lot of fans don't get to see is all the work players do behind the scenes at home, before games, after games, on off days. Can you talk a little bit about that? Getting your body ready from the end of one game to play the next game. I mean, I've seen it, but you talk about it.
Yeah, the wellness starts right after you stop playing. The minute you come off the court, you're iced. You know, you got to do progressions where right after the game, you shower. Obviously, you got to get massages. You got to get some type of wellness on your legs just because you're running so much. People don't know that you have to lift weights. You know, when we was in Boston, we lift every other day. We had a strenuous strength program. Shout out to Bidu. Brian Dew, who was our strength coach up there, never let us get a day off. And if you didn't lift weights, then we find you as a players find you. Because it's important for you to come in here and be strong. We need everybody to be as strong as they can be. So you have to lift. And then actually, you know, you practice. But after practice, you have to put time into your own personal game.
Right, right. So much goes into it. It's amazing. And both free throws good for Wiggins. Kevin, growing up watching the game of basketball, who were some of your earliest influences?
My early influences in the game of basketball was Magic Johnson, obviously Michael Jordan, and then Chris Webber. Chris Webber, Malik Sealy was kind of like the younger generation of my inspiration. Yeah. St. John's was one of the destinations. Michigan was one of my college destinations. So those guys were my natural inspirations early on when I was young.
Yeah. And here is Teague after Reggie Jackson was able to get the triple. Kevin, of all the people you've faced, who is the toughest guy for you to score against? Down low, let's pick that geography. Who is the toughest to score against down there?
Listen, I know a lot of people. I've always said Rasheed Wallace. I've always said Tim Duncan. They're probably the two that brought a different level of play out of me. But shout to Cliff Robinson, man. Cliff Robinson, I don't know if people know this, but Cliff Robinson, man. Cliff Robinson was one of the better defenders in the post. He was very strong. He was very long. He didn't go for any counters. He was very disciplined. He was well prepared because he was a veteran. The refs let him get away with a lot, touching and grabbing. He knew when to be physical in some positions. He knew to do what we call work early. He would meet you at the three-point line, and he would be fighting you, and you would post up probably like a step outside the three-point line. Like he was really good at some of his techniques and how he was able to control the post. After Cliff left the game, I watched a lot of his tape, and I took a lot of his...
No kidding.
I had to, because it was so effective against me that I was able to use it against other post players on the defensive end.
I never knew that story.
Dennis Rodman was another guy I watched a lot. Akeem Olajuwon I watched a lot, because these guys were laterally very similar to my makeup. Akeem Olajuwon was long. He was able to laterally move with you. I was laterally able to move with guards, and able to laterally to slide with some of the forwards and some of the more laterally gifted power forwards. And with that, able to get my feet together, being able to block shots, challenge the rim, stuff like that. Things that, if you're going to get better at something, you got to go and reach and find the great ones that did it before you and take it, and then I was able to apply it, and I did those things.
Now here's Jackson. Jimmy Butler unable to get his last shot to go. Jackson kicks to Lewis. Offline with his three. Timberwolves trail by 6. And KG, Avery Bradley, drafted by the Celtics in 2010. You were his teammate for 3 years. What stood out about him to you?
We like to think that we raised young Avery to be the player that he is now. He was a young, cool kid when he came in. We had to harden him up a little bit and get him built for what, style and brand that we were playing at the time. And he adapted very, very nicely. And it's good to see him evolve into what he is now, a great young leader. We talk. When he needs me, he calls. If I'm just inspired, I shoot him a text, just, check on him. That's my little brother, man. That's Bradley is real people, real family, man. And he knows anytime he needs me, man, I'm always there for him.
A putback, and Drummond is right there. Drummond's got his second bucket of the game to go.
And not afraid to say it. If Drummond isn't the best rebounder in the NBA, he's got to be in the top 3. That goes for both ends of the floor. Just no way to hold him in check on the board.
Here's T. After the made shot from Andre Drummond, and Towns gets it to go. Kevin, when you entered the draft, no player had made the jump from high school to the NBA in 20 years. And what were your emotions when your name was called number 5 overall?
Oh, man, I remember that. It was
17 years old?
17, just turning 18 at the time. I was in like a whirlwind, to be honest. A lot of people don't know it's a lot of stuff that goes up into the draft. Things that I wasn't aware of. You're training twice a day. You're trying to get ready for the combine. You're trying to get ready for pre-draft. You got to do workouts. This is all new to me, on top of still going to high school, trying to, graduate and stuff. So I figured it out. I hustled and I bustled and I juggled a bunch of different things.
Take a break.
But once your name is called, it's almost like the culmination. It all comes together. It's a special moment for just you and your family and your loved ones and ones around you. And when my name was called, it felt like the world had stopped and everything was going very slow.
First free throw is good. And KG, 2 decades later, you still look the same. You don't age. You do not. Listen,
man, listen. I wish I could use the Beyonce. I woke up like this, but actually I woke up like this and worked out some more, and then worked out a little more to look like this.
You look terrific.
You look great too, man. What's the secrets, man?
I'm following you, watching your advice.
Yeah, right. You've been doing this way, man. Ken, what year is this for you? Seriously?
Broadcasting the NBA. 20 years and then 12 years with 2K.
You're a beast, man. You know what I love about 2K, man? To bring the best in for the best. You understand, my dude? Straight up.
That's why we've got you. But Kevin, you play this game a lot, don't you? Especially when you were young.
Man, listen, man. 2K is it, bro. Hey, there's no other games out here. This is what it is. If you play basketball, if you're online, nobody's playing nothing else. This is it.
Yeah.
2K is the cream of the crop. It's the gang. They know what it is. It's lit. They know what it is. Seriously, they got to do this. They know.
Just 5 on the clock. That shot a little beyond his normal range. Smith's got himself going there. His first points of the game on the deep ball. Kevin, especially back in Minnesota, you have some Hall of Fame battles with a guy named Tim Duncan. Talk about what those games, what those matchups were like.
Timmy, man. Timmy's very crafty, man. Our battles used to just, especially as young guys, man. Young guys trying to establish themselves in a gritty league at the time, full of some older, dominant names at the time. Michael Jordan, Elijah Malone. You know, the time where the forward position was a very, very tough position. But Timmy was one of them ones, man. Used angles very well, was very long, had a lot of counters, very strong, and had an inner beast that people really didn't really talk about because you didn't really necessarily hear or see it. But man, Timmy's one of the best, man. It's not by coincidence. He's one of the ones.
So the Timberwolves called their first timeout. Their last encounter was in Detroit, where they were able to handle the Pistons.
And they did win that last game in this matchup. And it seemed they got the benefit of the whistle.
And KG, so great to see you. It takes me back. It really does.
A lot of people don't know, man. We got real original ties, man.
Back to the beginning.
95, man. My original man right here.
Here he was, man. You were a thrill a minute. I'll tell you that.
Man,
a thrill a minute.
Now look at us. 21 years later, dog. Man, can you believe
We're still
this?
standing.
We are. They haven't caught on yet. Don't say anything.
Okay.
Keep it between.
Okay. Kennard, he's checked in for Detroit. Crawford with the ball. 11 points last game. They set the pick. Just 5 on the clock. Brooks outside. Bangs home the trifecta. And Kevin, there was such a whirlwind around your trade to the Celtics from the Timberwolves. What were your thoughts and emotions at that time?
You know what? Being in Minnesota at that time, it was very difficult for me. I didn't necessarily want to leave. I had a goal to bring the city a championship, and I felt like I could do that. Nothing worse than when you have to deal with the reality of change. I'm not the one for change, even though I do know in order to process or progress better, you have to embrace some change. So with the help of my friends from Chauncey Billups, Teron Lou, I sat and I thought through it with those guys who have been through the trade process and talking to me, getting me to understand my options. And once I understood all my options, then I just, it was about what was best for me and my family.
Wow, yeah, there's a lot to consider.
And on the glass so far, it hadn't even been close.
Smith against Brooks. Charity stripe shot. Here's Marjanovic. Kicks it out to Johnson. Shoots over Muhammad. And the shot is long.
Yeah, and something we always talk about, though, shot selection.
Yeah, that's not a good example right there. You could have worked it around to get a better opportunity.
And Kev, you had a voice in where you'd go from Minnesota. How did all that play out?
I sat with my wife, and we all kind of went through it and thought Boston was the best situation. Paul and I had great bones and great history that I don't think the world really knew. We have been knowing each other since 14, 15. I played with each other younger, and I had a chance to play with Cole, but that really didn't go through. A lot of people don't know I had a chance to play with Steve Nash also, but I wanted to play with Stoudemire, and that wasn't the case. So I decided to go to Boston. Ray and I knew each other from South Carolina. And then, the Rondo piece was a huge piece for me. I had followed the youngster in his first year and just watched his growth a little bit, even though I was in the Western Conference. And then when I got to Boston, I knew they had good pieces like Kendrick Perkins and Tony Allen. I wasn't aware of the big baby piece yet, and then I wasn't sure on the Posey part. And then all of a sudden it started to come together, Eddie House, and then all of this. And
great names.
I mean,
great names.
Just all alphas,
yeah,
all guys
yeah.
to stand up and speak for themselves and be articulate, and all different facets, and very similar facets of who we are personality-wise. And a lot of people just don't know that team there. I don't think another coach could have coached that team other than Doc Rivers.
Elbow shot is on the way, and it's Brooks. That time on the assist by Gibson. Now just a 1-point Detroit lead. There's a minute 47 left to play in the first quarter. Now let's go to the sideline and catch up with our Hall of Famer, David Aldridge.
Well, earlier I spoke with Tom Thibodeau. We talked about keys to the game, and he thinks shot blocking has to be even more important. He said, look, we want to keep them out front as much as possible, but with our length and timing, we can protect the rim if they break us down. Kevin, he hopes that strategy will help them get their second win in this season series. Back to you.
Thank you, David. Their game plan appears to be putting that defense front and center in this one.
Yeah, and that's where they're going to put their energy early on. They don't want this to become a run-and-gun type of game.
I do think they'll benefit if they're certainly controlling the tempo, and that's why the emphasis is on the defensive end of the floor. Get back quickly and build your defense.
That free throw, no good. Kevin, you were always known as wanting to play and always wanting to practice. You were a gym rat. What did you do when a coach would ask you maybe to take a breather? Let's sit out this game. Let's rest up. Would you welcome that? Would you just say, I'll let you know when I can't go? Or how would you handle that situation?
You know what? I've always asked the coach to respect the way I get ready for games. I've always asked him to respect the way I approach the game. I've always asked the coach to respect me and my expertise of knowing my body. I'm very, very vocal. Listen, if one person needs rest and it's me, I know how to raise my hand. I know how to say I need some rest. But, I'm a person who likes to push through a lot of things. I'm a person who understands rest, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I'm a person who understands that practice makes perfect. And if I can work on something for as long as I can to make something better, because I know at the end when I need it, especially when I used to call it dial up. When I call, I need the answer.
Well, Mouse in the house, he recognizes the size advantage and goes right to the rim. Good aggressive play.
Crawford dishes to Gibson. They set the pick. Crawford outside. Goes up the baseline. Crawford with another miss.
I'll tell you, if he keeps missing shots, it's going to be a tough night to try to trim this lead.
And there's the whistle on the shot. Took the foul. Shot misses. He'll be shooting two. For Detroit, they have gone 4 of 6 so far from the line, missing a couple.
And on the season, they're hitting about 76%, which is a decent rate.
Shooting two.
First free throw is good. And so he makes both from the line.
I'll tell you, he's coming through for them at the free throw line today. His form has been perfect.
And out of bounds. The Pistons will take it. There's 25 seconds left here in the opening quarter. Brooks against Smith. Kicks it out to Johnson. The rebound by Patton.
Gets it to very close range, but there was no way the defense going to back off and give him that layup.
With 1 on the clock, and Johnson with the stuff.
And guys got careless with the ball there, and the turnover leads to the big stuff.
Once he came upright with the steal, he went straight on the attack.
Fantastic anticipation. Then he shows major explosiveness converting at the other end.
And so is Detroit, holding on to an 8-point lead heading into the break. They've set the tone. They love their tempo. They're going to be very tough to stop. Back to the action after this word. And a guy who seems to improve every season, Jimmy Butler. He spoke with us about one of his biggest surprises.
It's crazy because I've never thought that anybody would be preparing to guard me night in and night out. But they do. I have to learn to cope with that and still find a way to be successful on both ends of the floor. And it's a learning curve for me also, but I'm figuring it out.
And hard to doubt the dedication of Jimmy Butler. He's found a way to overcome obstacles at each important point along the way.
You know, he's a self-made player, and if Butler can stay healthy, boy, the sky's the limit.
All right, the second quarter beginning in just a moment. And what stands out to you from the Pistons so far in this one?
Tough defense throughout that first period, and it's really paying dividends.
Well, I think there's a level of physicality with them right now and not allowing the opponent to feel comfortable getting into their heads just a bit.
Taj Gibson is out there with Patton. And it's Crawford, then it's Brooks, and it's Muhammad in at the 3 spot. So that's the lineup for Minnesota. Now here's Brooks, clock at 4, with his first shot attempt. That's good on the jump shot. Patton's got the first basket of the second quarter for the Timberwolves. Pistons leading by 6. Smith outside. Pass to Kennard. And good, as it just snugs right down through the net. Kevin, one of the biggest moments of your career, the 2008 championship with the Boston Celtics. Talk about the camaraderie among that group of players.
You know, Kev, I can tell right away that we had something special getting together right in September, right before the year started. We started working out together. We started sharing concepts and how we saw the game. Right away, I can tell that the appetite was there. 1 through 15 guys. It's very rare that you're able to get that many guys in that early. As soon as Danny, signed guys, we were in, we were lifting, we was just, around each other, understanding each other, playing a lot. We was playing a lot. Then, fortunately, we was able to go off to Rome that year. Rome was a good distraction for us because we had to lean on one another.
To bond a little bit.
Seriously, because, none of us spoke Italian. If we wanted to go somewhere, we was always 3-4 deep, and no one was asking and no one was telling us to be with each other. We were just naturally being with each other so much that whenever you saw us to the restaurants, 9, 10 of us, that carried over to practice. Then we got 2 teams that are very competitive. Doc was letting us be who we want to be, and he letting us play with passion, and our practices are over the top aggressive, and to the point where it's too competitive to where he has to come in and separates us and, take the balls and cut the lights out and get us out of here. Yeah. To the point where he just lets us go. Now we start bringing concepts to him. He started trusting our IQs. Now we start putting a couple of things on defense. Thibodeau's in there. He's implementing stuff. When this flow is going like this, you don't know that you're going to win it all, but you know you're on the waves of something special. Right. And that's how that felt.
Now here's Teague. He's had some playing time, but no scoring yet from him.
Another rebound hauled in. They're hitting the glass with a lot of passion.
Here's Kennard. And where have the shots been coming from tonight? Here's a look broken down by paint, mid-range, and 3-point shot attempts so far for the Timberwolves.
I think what would help their offense more than anything else would be getting more points in the paint. They're just not getting enough scoring inside. Your offense is never going to be entirely effective if you can't score consistently down low.
And the first one drops. And people may not know, KG, that you're not just a broadcaster for 2K, but you're a member of the 2K community.
Have you been keeping up with the community, man?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Man, listen, shout out to all the 2K players out there. I'm Jizzle Lord. Y'all know what it is. I'm Jizzle Lord 5. Shout out to my OBF team. Y'all know what it is. Shout out to Dex. Shout out to Bug. Shout out to everybody out there playing.
Wow.
Right. We definitely.
Wow.
It's all good. You know, I'm OBF. I'm about the team. I'm gang. You know what it is. Just a Lord. Y'all holler at me. Y'all know what it is, 2K. Right.
Kevin, with intentional fouling, with poor free throw shooters being sent to the line, currently the hack of Drummond, hack of Shaq, I mean, all this stuff, hack of DeAndre Jordan. Yeah. What are your thoughts on all that?
You know what? I like it. You know what it's going to do? It's
part of the strategy?
It's going to put the strategy, and this is part of it. And you know what you got to do? It's going to make all those guys you just named work on their free throw. Because if any advantage that you have in the game, coaches are going to expose it. Coaches are going to expose all weak points, as they should, as any sport, and as any great is going to expose any weaknesses in defenses. He's going to look to expose those things. So this is one of the things that dictates the game, and these guys are going to have to be better. It's going to push them. It's going to make them better players.
Bradley's checked in for Detroit. It's stolen by Bradley. Jackson passes to Drummond. Bradley against Butler. Knocks it loose and out of bounds as the Timberwolves gain possession. Kevin, coming out of high school, you were relatively mature for your age, as 17 turning 18, but do you ever regret not trying college and just seeing what that experience would have been like? I mean, it's such a long time ago, but you've had some chance probably to get some perspective on both sides of that story.
You know what, Kev? I look at it like the unknown is the unknown. Obviously, I've had friends that went to college. Some of my best friends went to college, and I think I've kind of lived it through them a little bit. Listen, when you have responsibility early in life,
which you did,
which I did,
yes,
and you know, so from a mature level, things that interest me are not that interesting as you get older, especially when you have to deal with a vigorous schedule of an NBA schedule. I wasn't able to, be the 17, 18-year-old to chill, have, lean on the parents a little bit, be able to be at home, coming home through the weekends. I had a real life that I was responsible for, and I was growing something. I was building something. I was trying to not just be a young player in our league, but a young businessman, wanting to establish something for myself, my friends, my family. Can't do those things thinking like a normal 17, 18-year-old. You're taking pieces from grown men around you all the time. You're around people who need something all the time. At some point, you have to put all this together, and you have to make it work for you, and you have to put your spin on it for how it works for you and your brand. And you have to be innovative with that. You have to be creative with that. You have to have a vision.
Wow, yeah, there's a lot to consider. The free throw drops for Towns. Kevin, we see some coaches get extremely emotional on the sideline. Others take a more even-keeled approach, more calm on the sideline. Which coaching style would you prefer to play for when you were in your prime? Did you want a coach who was animated, or did you want a coach that was just kind of settled on the sideline? You
know what? I like the coach that was settled on the sideline. I like to think that great coaches are going to be able to coach you in practice, and then during the games, it's about the product and what you put out on the floor. Yes. Coaches that have understanding, coaches that have vision, coaches that understand the game, understand that it's a game of runs, know that it's a game of momentum, and have plays for those momentums and those times, or coaches that I've always gravitated to and understood.
Like Doc was kind of in between, wasn't he? Little bit of emotion, but he could also have a calm demeanor on that side.
Doc was on fire. I'm sorry. There was nothing calming about Doc.
I'm trying to cover Doc's back here.
No, shout to Doc. Doc will rip your head off if you wasn't supposed to. But you know what? You need to play with that edge. You needed to know that if you wasn't in your spot, 1 through 15, you understood that you were supposed to be there. And it's good to play with that. I think that you don't want to be out there playing like, this is no big deal. Every play is a big deal. And no play absolutely. And you know what? That severity, and you play with that importance, and, knowing that you're playing for the next guy. So, that's important.
Kevin, you accomplished everything individually as a teammate. Anything that you wish you would have done, any player that you wish you would have played with, any regret in that form that lingers with you in return?
No, nothing lingers. Obviously, you sit back and think about, I would love to play with Cole for a year, or got to team at least play in the U.S.
You had a chance. Wasn't it like a rumor at one time?
It was.
Going to the Lakers?
My connection with Paul was just the opportunity when I waited. it's what it was. But
you wouldn't have traded the Paul Pierce thing for anything.
No, I wouldn't have, because Paul and I are true brothers. The connection, and then the team, he, Ray, you know, my connection with Doe and then Doc and all that. So I wouldn't have given that up for anything. But if I could have played with one person, probably would have been Cole. Summertime, I say USA because that's when you get to play with each other and all that, and you get to kind of beat up on everybody else and be USA or whatever. So that would have been super fun. But it's all good. Shout to Mama, you know what it is. But I have no regrets, man. I left everything on the floor. I enjoy watching the game more than ever now, dog. I'm not even going to front. I enjoy having my popcorn, my little ritual, my boys, and we sit back and we watch the game and loving the game.
Yeah. The first free throw is good.
And they have yet to miss a shot from the line here this quarter.
And Harris drops them both. And KG, you're retired from the game now, and you're stepping into the broadcast business a little bit now, aren't you?
Man,
Yeah,
you see me?
You
know what? Area 21 is something that is authentic. It's me. I'm having a great time watching the games. It's really cool being a fan now. I can root for people I want to root for. I don't have to worry about preparing and who I'm a guard, and I'm getting the tea. So you know what? It's a great time. It's work. You know, it's not just you go in there and you have a bunch of fun. You know, we actually get some things done, and but we have a great time, man.
You're a natural.
Hey, Kev, listen, watching you, being around you, you know, man, the great, rest in peace to Craig, you know, Ernie, Charles, all these great influences, man, has definitely helped. Not just me, but our younger generations of broadcasters, man. It's totally, I didn't see this being my lane, but I'm having fun with it.
Doing a great job.
Yeah, the amount of points they've given up here in the paint, that's what they got to talk about.
Well, I think they've got to ramp up the pressure. There's no excuse for letting them score at will in the paint. Make them feel you.
A moment here to see the stats for Butler. Some impressive play from him over the last month. 3rd in three-point field goal percentage, 15th in scoring, and tremendous confidence and consistency at the foul line. He ranks among the top 15 in free throw percentage.
And he's the type of three-point specialist that doesn't need a lot of shots to rack up points. That's why he's top 3 in percentage. Now here's Wiggins. He has 6, and it's Butler missing.
And with the success they've had rebounding the basketball, they're right where you'd expect them to be, firmly in the driver's seat.
Well, the fans out there watching this, Kev, can you talk about why it's so incredibly difficult to win an NBA title, to become a champion? Why is it such a tough process?
Well, just imagine having a goal and you're not pursuing the goal by yourself. You know, just say you and somebody else.
Relying on somebody else.
Relying on somebody else, okay? So let's just say you and someone are doing something, walking up a hill. Y'all getting ready to go walk up a hill. Well, the speed at which you want to walk at might be different from the other person. And what you realize about when you're trying to reach any goal is that you have to be connected. You have to be understanding of, we're going to walk up here together like at this speed, like this, or we're going fast, we're going slow. It has to be a great level of communication and understanding. At the same time, you have to have the same work ethic, because you have to understand that you're together. And you don't get to go at this level and leave someone behind. You have to actually, if you got to pull them, if you got to keep up, whatever it is. All this goes into trying to win.
It sure does. That's right.
2.
Free throw good. Wiggins.
Well, with the first overall pick in 2014, Wiggins has some pressure on him, but he has steadily improved his play.
And both free throws good for Wiggins. Now Jackson. 7 points in the game. Hey, Kevin, when you play with Andrew Wiggins, you saw firsthand just how explosive he can be. What impresses you most about where he is right now and where he could go?
Man, Andrew's potential is through the roof. I've told him this countless times that when he wants to, he can. There's nothing that he can't do. It's just about his consistency and how he sees that, man. I told him, man, the world is his. I've yet to see a player in our league that has the athletic ability that he has, mixed with the IQ and being able to be players on both sides of the ball if he wants to. This kid is super long. He's fast. He's deceptionally fast. Like, I don't think people know how fast he really is. Great shooter, has a great IQ, not a good IQ, a great IQ. I told him, man, you know, I would like to see him with a little more oomph in his step. But if you know Drew, he's laid back. He's super cool. He's smooth with it, and his game reminds you of Steve Smith. And when Smitty used to, you know, rock people to sleep, he has a very good patience to his game.
Here's Jackson. He picked up 24 points in their last one against the Pacers in Indianapolis.
Really, he exposed a lot of seams in the defense with his passing, too. That assist total was impressive.
Now here's Jackson. 8-point game. And Lure kicks to Jackson. Shot clock at 5. Here's Drummond. He's off on that one. Some solid defense from Butler. Wiggins against Harris. It's stolen by Harris. Got a piece of it, and it's out of bounds. They say it was last touched by Jackson. And Kevin, do you think you gravitate towards those young players because you were in their shoes at one time as a very, very young player in this league?
A little bit, but more importantly, I see it. I see it in him. I see that if he pushed through a little bit, and you know
it, you spot it.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you know what you see in young talent, you see it when it's there. When it's right in your face, like, holy, here, go get a rebound, put it back, dunk the ball, steal it, dunk it, come back down, and then be like, huh? You know, I often wonder how much Drew is actually stimulated. You know, he gets bored very easily, but when he turns it on, he is one of the best and is going to be one of the best in our league to come.
Well said.
One shot, mind the lanes.
The free throw drops for Towns.
You know, in their amateur days, Jahlil Okafor was actually rated ahead of Karl Anthony Towns, but Towns goes on to win the Rookie of the Year.
Now here's Jackson. He's got 7. Bradley, and Butler sends it back. Butler on the wing from past the arc. Rebounded by the Pistons. They've held a 12-point lead earlier. Kevin, over the years, we've seen a number of super teams develop, and in the Warriors' case, it's not the Big 3, it's the Big 4. Is this a trend you see continuing? You did it in Boston.
Man, look,
you were the original Big 3.
It seems like it, eh? You know, right.
You were the original Big 3.
You know what? It's like an innovative type of thing, right? I didn't even know that we were doing that. Right, because LeBron come back and do what? LeBron goes to
Miami. He's the Big 3 right down there.
And then what? Then it just starts morphing into these different things, right?
KD to Golden State.
Right. Oh, man.
What do you think of that?
I think this is pretty much the norm. You know what? Listen, I think KD took a lot of heat for it, but when you really think about what he's doing, is that, let's say 20 years from now, when he sits back and he wants to talk to Steph, he wants to talk to Draymond, he's talking to Clay. These are all going to be 3 greats with him. I'm just talking about those 3 guys. He's playing with 3 of the greats. I'm sorry. If you had a chance to play with 3 other greats in the prime, Kev, you're going to do that. And if you don't, then something's wrong with you.
And Kevin, you look at the star players joining up today. At the end of the day, it's about winning.
The game is about winning. More importantly, it's about these bonds that you're able to establish. Those guys are going to be brothers forever. Now, I get the whole OKC, him leaving, right? But this is morphing into something else, and I think that this is going to be part of the norm.
Championships.
It is, man, and that's what you're in this for. You go to build these things. I don't know if I would have done it like that, but I understand it. I get it. He's playing with 3 other greats that's making the game more efficient for him, and it's working. But, yes, I see this being the norm in the league.
And, Kevin, you've recently gotten a chance to do more TV. Your show, Area 21, has been tremendous, and the critics love it. Talk about this chapter of your career.
Well, you know, it was something that I wasn't planning on, but, you know, Turner brought me a great concept, and it fit the mold of what any man cave is, and that's really what it is. But the fact that we can go in, watch games on multiple channels, see multiple games, articulate it, you know, give it from a perspective of a player, coming fresh out of this generation of players, giving understanding to this generation of players is very important, because these players now are very different. Teaching these young players, still being mentors of these players, very important. And still loving this game. It's still a beautiful game. Man, the game is growing. I'm watching these kids do all types of different stuff, man. The creativity in our game now is so heightened. So, yeah, I'm having a bunch of fun, which is one thing I never forgot. The piece of advice you've always told me, man. So you continue to enjoy what you do, and it'll show. And I'm hoping that I'm making you proud of that, Kay. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, man.
You're an incredible ambassador to all of those things. The game, the fun of life.
Take a break.
You capture a lot of the fun of life.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'm enjoying it. So, you know, hopefully it shows.
He gets a chance now to catch up with the fourth member of our crew, Hall of Famer David Aldridge.
Well, guys, analytics has taken over the NBA, but Minnesota coach and president of basketball operations Tom Thibodeau says it doesn't tell you everything. He said analytics can measure a lot of things, but it's very difficult to measure drive. The magic is in the work. Kevin?
And Tom Thibodeau makes a good point, D.A. Analytics is certainly helpful, but it doesn't capture everything. Second free throw, no good. Timberwolves on offense. They're on a 13-3 run right now. Crawford outside. The shot goes down and he gets this game back to even. Crawford's got 4 points this quarter. Detroit's gone 0-3 from beyond the arc to start the second quarter. Johnson the screen. Smith kicks to Ellenson. And it's blocked. It's out of bounds. The Pistons able to retain possession here. We've got 1:23 left to play in the first half. Smith for three.
And just not able to find the target from three-point range here in the second quarter, although he did knock down one in the first.
KG, I know you can't stay any longer. You've got to move on, but we appreciate your time, and it's always great to see you.
Kev, anytime, man. It's great to see you, man. Anytime you need me, you let me know, man. I'm yours.
Former MVP, Defensive Player of the Year and champion, Kevin Garnett. And Doris, one of the things that really strikes me about KG, he's as smart as he is athletically gifted. What a treat to have him join us tonight.
Well, I'm in awe of his enthusiasm, and it's not just when he's talking, but when others are talking as well. There's so much life to the conversation. Everything he brought to the court for 21 years, he now brings to the booth.
Brooks outside. Patton the pass to Crawford. And the rejection by Marjanovic.
And this is obviously where you'd like to see a 2-for-1.
Absolutely. You have to execute. No reason why they can't get a couple of chances at scores.
And so it's Minnesota with it, following the three by Detroit. 8-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Deep two from Crawford. And against the shot to fall after coming off the pick. Crawford's got 9 points.
I think you could see early on that he was really with a rhythm and flow tonight, and now he's really starting to take off.
Smith kicks to Ellenson. Screen by Smith. Off target at the rim.
Yeah, good interior D there prevents the deuce.
Well, if he wasn't there, that shot's going in. Love the effort on the defensive end.
And so it's a close game as we wrap up the first half of basketball. The Pistons on top. They lead by 1. And now let's catch up with David Aldridge, who's standing by from the sideline. All right, Dave.
Kevin, thanks. Here with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy, you have come a long way in this league. When you look at your career now versus when you came in, how different is it?
Much different. I think on the floor, I'm supposed to do a lot more on both ends of the floor. And off the floor, I think it's still the same. People recognize my hair.
Well, it is a unique style. Jimmy, thanks a lot. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, David, for that interview, and we'll see you back here after the break for third quarter basketball.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2K Sports Halftime Show. Some big-time action already in this one. I'm Ernie Johnson, along with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. Detroit finds themselves ahead after 2 quarters. They lead by 1. Kenny, some perspective, please.
Well, they're putting bodies on people. If you just look at the rebounding numbers, you can tell that they've been putting their body on and being more physical than the other team. Now, that fact looms large on both sides, and that's going to be the difference in the second half.
How about you, Shaq? What'd you think about Minnesota?
I think it was their passing that's kept them in the game. You can see it in their assist numbers. They were very, very unselfish. The ball moving from side to side, guys making good cuts. It's enabled them to create a lot of chances. As long as they stay on the same page and keep working together, they got a great chance to take control of this game.
That's it for halftime. Glad you could join us, as now we send you back to the action for the start of the third quarter.
Welcome back, everyone. The second half about to get underway, and it's been a close one so far. Karl-Anthony Towns has been sensational.
And they haven't needed a lot of shots to get their points. Just tremendous efficiency here in the first half.
I think you can look to specifically the patience and the shot creation. Really solid effort.
Dorsford talked about the evolution of the specialist, the pure 3-and-D guy, for example, who in that category are some of the best in your opinion.
Well, I'm so happy that Klay Thompson has evolved from a guy who believed coming into the NBA that he would strictly be a 3-and-D guy to a much more versatile scorer. But in today's iteration, I would have to say Danny Green won a championship for the San Antonio Spurs, doing nothing but absorbing the biggest threat on the offensive end for the opponent and then being able to make huge threes at timely opportunities. Patrick Beverley, another guy grinding it out, increasingly making shots, and of course tenacious on-ball defender.
Checking out the group for Stan Van Gundy to start the second half. Jackson and Bradley are in the backcourt. Lure and Drummond together down low, and it's Harris in at the small forward. The Pistons leading. Outside Jackson. A strong finish under heavy pressure all over. Jackson's got 9.
Amazing how he gets this one to go. Size doesn't matter.
What fearlessness, right? He likes to go at taller defenders, and he shows he has what it takes to get it done.
Towns, no luck.
Well, I think the defense took that possession off. I'm pretty sure he won't miss next time.
Harris misses.
Boy, too much traffic in the lane. Very difficult finish with the defense draped all over him.
And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact, and he'll shoot 2. For all the great things that Andrew Wiggins does on the floor, he is still working to solidify his defensive game. Never easy, Doris, for a young player in the NBA. And it's something that he knows he can improve upon.
Well, and I think the important piece is Andrew Wiggins is invested in becoming a better defender. And most pure scorers think they can get away with playing average at best defense. Wiggins wants to be known as a complete player.
The first one falls.
And still varying opinions out there of what Andrew Wiggins can and can't do. But one thing that's indisputable, he's an incredible scorer. Whether it's half-court transition, he can flat out fill it up in a hurry.
And that's good as he hits both of his shots. And Wiggins, his young career, just getting better and better at scoring, Greg, while increasing his workload.
Yeah, and very few scorers can do that, especially from that 2-guard spot. Wiggins has that special talent where he can flat out carry an offense. Scary to think that this is a kid who is just scratching the surface.
I think you've got to get physical with Avery Bradley down low. When you don't, he will punish you with his versatility.
And here is Teague. Looking at his numbers, he's averaging about 6.5 points a game. Wiggins dishes to Jang. And he wills that one in. Sinking right through off the back iron.
Listen, this guy is shooting it well enough these days, is Gorgui Dieng. You might want to run him off his spot and make him put it on the deck.
Over in the corner, Lure. And the 3 off target.
Yeah, coming off that screen, wide open, just can't convert.
Well, I think, Greg, that's exactly what you want. The screen was solid. The execution just fell a little bit short on the shot.
Pistons have gone 3 of 5 to start the second half, developing a nice rhythm out there. Here's Jackson. And the rejection by Towns.
Well, that play is so much about his reach and determination affecting the game defensively.
Teague against Jackson. And stolen by Wiggins. Inside. And it's Teague. That time on the assist by Wiggins. Wiggins has got 3 assists now in this one. The Pistons trailing. Outside Jackson. Pass to Drummond. Back to Jackson. The 3. And again, it's the Pistons missing. The Timberwolves shooting pretty well at 46% from the floor. And a wide open look here for Wiggins. Cans it from downtown. Now it's a 4-point Timberwolves lead.
The assist totals, Kevin, just continue to grow. They're way ahead in that category. Ball movement has been flawless.
Now here's Bradley. 9 points in the game so far.
Well, AB has become a real weapon in the pick and roll. This is a quick, confident player who moves well in these sets.
T kicks to Wiggins. Inside, Dieng, and finished off by Dieng.
And that's how it's done. I mean, find that hole in the D and then go hard to the rack.
Maybe that hole was a little bigger than it should have been.
Yeah, with the score this close, guys, I am shocked at the lack of defensive aggressiveness. That has to be shored up.
And Detroit has possession. Following the bucket by the Timberwolves. For 3, Harris. It's rebounded by Towns. Towns has got 8 rebounds in this game. 3-pointer, Butler. Rebound, Andre Drummond. Drummond's got 10 rebounds here tonight. So active. And it's Bradley off the drive. Can't cash in from the left block. Minnesota leading by 4. Butler passes to Teague. He feeds it to Wiggins. Kicks it to Butler. Shoots over Bradley. And yep, finally drops after rolling around the rim. And the Timberwolves lead by 6.
They need a bucket in a big way here to regain some confidence.
Jackson from long range. That's in for his 5th field goal of the game. Makes him 5 for 12 so far.
Not the biggest fan of that shot, but he had the space to get it off, so why not?
Pass to Butler. Out of bounds. Detroit takes possession.
And a moment now to check out the numbers for Dieng. This past month, he's really set himself apart. He's averaging about 7 points a game, 9 rebounds, and just over 2 blocks. And this is the kind of strong, steady play you like to see. He's earning his keep and helping them win games.
I think they need more consistency from him, and they're getting it. Look for this to continue. I love it.
Now here's Jackson. 12 points for him. Out to Harris. Clock at 6. Over Wiggins. Count that 1. And the Timberwolves lead has been cut to just 1 on the basket from Tobias Harris. And Greg, you wouldn't expect it from a Coach Thibodeau team, but defense was an issue for the Timberwolves last year.
And the Wolves brought in Butler to help with offense, but more importantly, his defense. And Butler, familiar with what Thibs likes to do on both ends of the floor, has the leadership the team needs, particularly on the defensive end.
Now here's Lure. He has 5. Bradley. It's good. The assist this time from Jackson. Jackson's got 3 assists now in this one. For Minnesota, they've gone 6 of 10 from the field in the 3rd quarter. Wiggins against Harris. Wiggins kicks to Butler. Shoots over Bradley. And Towns gets it to go. Towns has got 4 points now in the quarter.
I love his shot selection today. He set the bar for the rest of the team.
Time called here. The Pistons decide to talk it over.
And watching Jimmy Butler, he just offers so much on offense from a scoring standpoint. You know, obviously he can get to the rack and draw the defense to him. Also really improved his ability to knock it down from beyond. Just a complete offensive player.
Whole new look on the floor for Minnesota. Now that we have a moment, let's take a peek at the teams that are leading the league in blocks. The Timberwolves, #1.
And sometimes a team will get one guy who can block. Other times a guy finds ways to get others involved in blocking. It can be contagious. If he can do it, why not me? Then all of a sudden you look up and you're leading the league in blocks.
Now here's Brooks. He's got 5. Here's Crawford. And good, and it takes a nice bounce off the right iron and down. And now a 3-point Timberwolves lead. And Greg, as you said, Butler is a threat to score from any part of the floor.
It's a bit of a dying art, though, hitting that mid-range jump shot. Butler also does a great job of getting to the line. That's increased over the course of his career. Just a well-rounded offensive player.
And a moment here to look at where the shots have been coming from for Detroit.
And really what jumps out to me about this shot chart is just how aggressive he's been when on the floor. I mean, he's doing everything he can to get as close to the hoop as possible before putting up that shot, and it's worked out in a big way for him and his team.
Shooting 2.
And that one falls for Jamal Crawford. Doris, they say that one of the toughest things about calling a game is balancing pure basketball knowledge with entertainment. What's your approach with that topic?
Do you know that was the last piece of broadcasting that I think fell into place for me? For a long time, I felt like I was proving myself, Kevin, so I didn't relax and enjoy it. But my son one time said to me, when we were watching a game, he said, Mom, you have to understand when the announcers are having fun, we're having fun.
Chemistry is such a big part of it, isn't it?
Crucial.
And one thing that you can say about this Pistons team is they are fundamentally sound, strong on the glass and closing out possessions, and they really don't make a lot of mistakes.
Well, he's got wonderful touch from deep, right? And with his size, a defender has a hard time even bothering him on the perimeter.
On the sideline, let's catch up with Hall of Famer David Aldridge.
Well, Kevin, Karl Anthony Towns was voted by GMs last season as the player they most want to build a franchise around. But he is not resting on his laurels. He said, I work hard on my game. I want to be the strongest player, the most intelligent player, and the most skilled player on the court at all times. Kevin?
Thanks, David. That work ethic will definitely help Towns get better. He's already a dynamite player. Marjanovic, and he converts the layup. Marjanovic has got his second bucket of the night.
Defensive rebounding, just such a crucial part of the game.
I'll tell you, if you don't box out well, expect to get burned. You can't afford to give them second chance opportunities.
Now here's Crawford. He's got 15. And the rejection by Marjanovic. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up, and 2 shots coming up.
And the Timberwolves, a team that is evolving how you imagine they would with Tibbs running things here. Deliberate approach on both ends of the floor and really looking to dominate the rebounding margins.
Greg, in the areas you just talked about, rebounding and pace, the Timberwolves are very much where they want to be.
Yeah, the team just looks to make the most out of their possessions and try to beat you through efficiency. They have players that can get easy transition points when the opportunity presents itself. But in general, they aren't trying to speed the game up.
And that one misses. And he sinks the second. Here's Crawford. Looking at his point production, he averages almost 11 points a game. Gibson the screen. Gibson setting the pick for Crawford. Shot off the screen, and they pick up 2. Crawford's got 17. Here's Smith. He's got 8. And it's Ellenson in the corner. It's good, the assist that time from Smith. Ellenson's got the game tied up here for Detroit.
Yeah, the D with very little pressure on their perimeter shooters. 3 of the last 5 baskets they've allowed have been from beyond.
Now here's Crawford. 17 points in the game. 16 feet away. They grab their own miss. Patton's shot is off.
And gotta like what they've been doing down low in the post.
And it's Smith penetrating, and it's denied. Johnson against Muhammad. Lets it go from 11.
Well, Taj Gibson has built his NBA game on his ability to rebound the basketball consistently. What a great nose for it he has.
Smith dishes to Ellenson. Here's Kennard, guarded by Crawford. Kennard's shot is off.
And he rushed that one, no doubt about it. The D out of position, you could see the frustration on his face. 1 made 3 for him for the game. Does he focus closer in? Let's see.
He shot 5 of 6 at the foul line. First free throw is good. Doors with so many one-and-dones entering the NBA. Do you think expectations are too high for these guys, especially from the fans?
I don't, Kevin. I think it depends on the talent that we're talking about. You know, I know Joel Embiid is a guy who didn't necessarily start right away, but when he was finally able to be healthy, it certainly didn't take him long to become a factor on the NBA level. No, I don't think the expectations are too high. I think these guys are accustomed to expectations, and frankly, their personal expectations are probably higher than ours.
I mean, look at the elite of these high school kids who have been playing like in front of big crowds on a big stage for so long. It's second nature to them, don't you think?
No doubt about it, Kevin.
Here's Patton. Brooks outside. Gibson the screen. Shot clock at 5. That one off the back iron and out.
Well, the offense got him the ball in exactly the position they wanted. That's just better defense.
For the lead, and it's good on the layup. Kennard's got 5 points now in the quarter.
And after really leaning on that three-point shot in the first half, seeming like they're just getting away from it here in the second. More of the shots coming from the interior.
Here's Crawford following the bucket by the Pistons. Here's Muhammad. A look at his stats. He averages a bit over 8 points a game. Johnson's shot is off. Minnesota's gone 1 of 4 in three-point shots here in the third. Here's Brooks. Buries the jumper to finish the break. Brooks has got his 3rd basket of the night. Detroit's gotten the three-point shot off 16 times tonight. 7 times they've hit it. 9 times they've missed. Smith kicks to Ellenson. Johnson the screen. Here's Kennard. Goes back up. Here's Marjanovic. Here's Johnson. Marjanovic passes to Johnson. It's stolen. And now Minnesota on the fast break. Brooks leading the charge. And a miss there on the triple. Minnesota comes into this one following a loss to the Mavericks in Dallas.
Yeah, it was a rough night for him. A lack of focus, I felt like, led to way too many mistakes.
I think you're absolutely right. Too careless with the basketball. I don't think you can expect to win when you're giving away that many opportunities.
Shot from the wing. Brooks can't get that one to fall.
Yeah, bad shot there. Trust is lacking. You got to be willing to make the extra pass.
I'm not sure why he doesn't continue to move the basketball. Would have served that team much better.
first one falls for him. So he gets them both. No good. And we just finished the third quarter, and we've got a tight ball game here. Pistons lead by 2. We're going to step aside for just a second, but join us right back here for the start of the fourth quarter next. Let's listen in now to head coach Stan Van Gundy from a few moments ago.
Right now, you got to do it all now, defensively and on the board. Take care of the ball down there, okay?
And trying to instill a sense of urgency, always in the voice of Stan Van Gundy, focused on the now.
And with a particular emphasis on the defensive side of the ball, feeling they need to lock it down to be successful.
We've got a great game on our hands as we welcome you back. The fourth quarter of action getting started. Gibson is the 4 with Towns in the middle. Crawford out there with Brooks. And it's Muhammad in at the 3, the small forward. So that's the lineup for Minnesota. And he gets the bucket. Kennard's got the fourth quarter going with the first basket of the period here for the Pistons. To the inside. Here's Crawford. It's deflected. Out of bounds. Minnesota takes possession.
Well, he's obviously anticipating different movement there, and instead of an easy connection, the pass sails straight into the front row.
And some changes here for the Timberwolves. Wiggins comes in for Muhammad, and it's Teague in for Brooks. And Detroit with a change here, too. Harris is checked in. Now, here's Teague. Dishes it to Wiggins. No good that time. Some solid defense from Harris. Detroit leading by 4. Now here is Smith. Ellenson kicks to Smith. 5 to shoot. Ellenson dishes to Smith. They grab their own miss. And he's fouled pretty hard on that shot, but he's got the chance to pick up the points at the line. And he knocks down the first one. And while most teams are moving in the direction of attacking from three-point range or inside, Greg, this Pistons team will still look to make a living in the mid-range game.
Yeah, and the Pistons right at the top of the NBA in terms of the highest percentage of their points coming from the mid-range. Almost 20% of their points coming from that area. You have to play to the strengths of your team, even in an ever-evolving game. Right now, that's where their bread is buttered.
And that's a foul. It's called on Reggie Jackson. That's his 5th foul.
Oh, my. He really needs to be careful now. That was his 5th foul of the night.
Andre Drummond's checked in for Marjanovic. Minnesota with the ball. Teague the pass to Butler. Now the feed to Wiggins. Towns the screen. A little shot fake there. Got the D out of position. 15 points for Andrew Wiggins.
Well, not that Wiggins needs a lot of help getting freed, but that's a pretty solid screen.
Drummond sets the screen for Jackson. He kicks to Drummond. Back to Jackson. Lets the 3 fly. Good on the triple. And the Pistons lead by 7.
challenging this D with the 3-ball. That's his second from distance this half, and he also hit one in the first half, too.
And Zhang kicks to Teague. Towns the screen. Teague dishes to Towns. And that comes off the assist by Jeff Teague. Teague's got 3 assists tonight.
Lined it up and knocked it down. His second triple tonight.
On the wing, Harris. Back to Jackson. Here's Bradley. Goes to the reverse layup and drops it in.
They are just killing them on the interior.
Just over 2.5 minutes played now here in the final quarter of regulation. Towns a screen on Jackson. T kicks to Towns. Over Drummond. Towns, no luck.
And they hold a huge advantage on the backboards.
Outside Jackson. Bradley against Butler. Bradley kicks to Jackson. 4 on the clock. And Drummond throws it down.
You could see Drummond's eyes light up once he knew that finish was coming. He didn't waste the chance. Boy, did he get his money's worth on that one.
And the Timberwolves with possession here after the basket by Detroit. Teague the pass to Butler. Second chance shot. It'll go, and the Detroit lead is cut down now to just 6, and the basket from Karl Anthony Towns.
Defensively, this is what you know. He's coming off a hot game and looking to keep it rolling.
Well, you want to slow this man's roll right now if you're the defense, because you've got to make somebody else beat you. He's cooking right now.
Not his best game, but they're still getting it done collectively.
Towns sets the pick for Teague. Over Drummond. Teague can't hit.
Well, I wouldn't say the D was exceptional, but it certainly was enough to bother him.
Harris. It's good. The assist this time from Jackson. 8 points for Tobias Harris.
Not a lot of resistance on the inside, and they're taking full advantage.
Teague kicks to Wiggins. Here's Towns. Bounces high off the rim and drops. Towns has got 24 points.
Listen, at what point does the defense try to deny Towns the touches? Because he's been unstoppable here.
Bradley, that's for 2. Minnesota with the rebound. Towns has got the glass covered here tonight. 11 boards for him. They get it back. It's tipped. Butler against Bradley. With the floater, rebounded by the Timberwolves. Towns has got rebound number 12 here already in the game. Here's Butler. And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact and he'll shoot 2. Rumors about Butler being traded from Chicago were circulating last season. Draft day comes around and the Minnesota Timberwolves made their move, Greg, to acquire him.
Yeah, and the more you look at it, the trade looks great for Butler and the Wolves. Reunites him with Coach Thibodeau. Joins an incredibly young core in Towns and Wiggins, and the sky's the limit, I think, for this young Wolves team.
Shooting 2.
First one falls for him.
Well, there's no doubt that last season the major downfall in most games for the Timberwolves was their struggle on the defensive end of the floor, right? Too many holes in the perimeter. Couldn't get stops when they needed them.
So after making the first, he goes 1 for 2. And this Minnesota roster has good defenders on it, Doris, but it's just a matter of getting all 5 players on the court to commit on the defensive end.
Right. Think about how young they have been, and focus at times can be an issue. You know, Coach Tom Thibodeau is not going to let that slip. This is a group that showed improvement as the season wore on, and they know they must be much better on the defensive end this season.
First free throw is good.
And when you look at what the Pistons have done, pretty clear this is a team that has a vision of who they want to be. Strong defensively, really good at rebounding the basketball, and I think deliberate and patient on the offensive side of the floor.
Both good from the line that time. And with the Pistons, this has been the identity the team has been aiming for under Stan Van Gundy. It's taken shape, but has yet, Greg, to produce big results.
I think it's because they've just always been one or two pieces short of making that next jump. I think the conference has gotten stronger, and while their best players are really good, I don't think they're quite at that elite level yet to allow this group to take that next step.
Now here is Harris. The pass to Jackson. And again, it's the Pistons missing.
They're fortunate to be in front given how shaky he's been from the floor tonight.
And they double up Butler. Jang dishes to Wiggins. The Timberwolves working the ball around now. Butler kicks to Towns. No good. In and out off the rim. Detroit leading by 7. Outside Jackson. Lure a screen on Butler. Bradley passes to Lure. He got an advantage there off the pick and took it right in.
Boy, defender taken out of the play with a rock-solid screen. No way he's going to get through that.
Wiggins outside. Butler against Bradley. And it's sent back by Drummond. Here's Butler. Banked in off the glass.
Wow, very close to a potential and one. Butler converting through contact.
The Pistons have gone 6 of 13, so just above 46% on their field goal attempts here in the quarter. Jackson dishes to Drummond. Down low, Harris from 6 feet. The shot missing. And Minnesota now the other way. Wiggins outside. T kicks to Butler. Shoots over Bradley. Butler missing again.
And the stroke definitely lacking confidence this quarter. Nothing on target.
And the basket by Harris.
And since halftime, they have been locked and loaded from beyond.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Knocking down triples repeatedly. The defense starting to look helpless at this point.
And the Timberwolves call time here.
And watching Andre Drummond play, he's really just an old school type center. I mean, he eats up space in the middle and finishes plays in close. Not a skilled guy who can pull a defender away from the basket.
And now the presentation of our Jordan Player of the Game, Andre Drummond.
And in terms of his shooting, this has been one of the more accurate performances you'll ever see. I mean, he's been in constant motion, creating a lot of good looks for himself. But still, even when you're wide open, you expect to miss some of the time. That has not been the case here tonight. This guy has made everything.
On the road, in a tough atmosphere, he's taken on the role of star tonight. If one of their other players came up short, he picked up the slack to make sure they'll be walking out of here with a win. It's a chance now to catch up with the 4th member of our crew, Hall of Famer David Aldridge.
Hey, Kevin. Well, during the break, I heard Tom Thibodeau as he talked with the team. 3-pointers have hurt them tonight, and he told his players, we've got to play them better on the 3-point line. We can't give them any more clean looks. Kevin?
Oh, since the break, his efficiency has gone up a notch, looking really polished now.
And with Drummond, he does play like towering centers of decades past.
Yeah, I mean, he isn't great at moving the ball around or hitting shots from range, but his size and athleticism are elite and one of the best rebounders in our game.
Yep, it goes, and the Piston lead is cut down now to just 8 points with the basket from Jimmy Butler. Detroit's gotten off 4 3-pointers in the final quarter, and 2 of them have fallen. Now here's Jackson. Drummond a screen. Jackson gets the bucket. Jackson's got 10 points here in the second half.
And just showing you his determination despite the size difference.
I mean, how does he get that shot off? I mean, he had to angle that perfectly to get past the defender.
And it's Wiggins missing.
Well, they've been better than good on the glass today, and there is a glaring discrepancy between these two teams in that area. And I bet you'll never see too many guys who can put forth an effort on the boards like this one.
Yeah, his production has been unbelievable. Really a testament to how much he cares about his craft. I'll tell you, his inconsistency not helping their cause at all.
And 2 shots coming up at the line as he gets fouled on the shot.
And making the most of their opportunities at the line here in the second half.
That free throw missing.
Well, Kevin, how about the remarkable improvement of Avery Bradley over time? Once strictly a dominant defender, this guy can make threes. He can drive the lane. There isn't an aspect of the game where he hasn't grown.
And he sinks the second. Timberwolves trail by 11. Teague the pass to Butler. Here's Wiggins. The shot's good on the assist by Butler. Butler's got his 8th assist in the game.
Well, he's still adding upper body strength, but boy, Andrew Wiggins helping him to score in traffic.
Now here's Jackson. He dishes it to Lure. Gets it to go from 18 feet away. And the Pistons lead by 11.
And that kind of sums up the defensive effort we've seen here tonight, guys.
Jackson against Teague. And too long on the shot. Detroit's gone 2 of 5 on three-point shots since the end of the third quarter. Towns comes with a double team. And the Pistons with possession here. Jackson up top, Teague covering. 6 on the shot clock. Drummond sets the screen for Bradley. Over Wiggins. Bounces high off the rim and drops. Bradley's got 7 points here in this quarter.
It does not take AB long to get rolling, Kevin. He has shown great strides in being a dominant offensive player.
Butler kicks to Wiggins. Again, Wiggins missing. Pistons leading by 13. Jackson with it. Now defended by Wiggins. Jackson dishes to Bradley. Jackson a screen on Butler. Bradley kicks to Jackson.
And there's no doubt about this one. Playing with a lot of confidence tonight. It's a statement victory for the Pistons.
Free throws were a big factor in this one.
You know, it's always great to get a lot of shots at the line, but the key, they were able to convert tonight. You start making free throws, and it can get you the win.
And now, for the year, this is going to take them to 7 wins.
And you know, this is a win they wanted badly, guys. They did not want to get swept in the season series.
And we watched them all night long. No one could really stop them. Just another excellent game it was for Andre Drummond.
Boy, I thought his best work was his pursuit of the basketball. He competed for every rebound, fought for position in the paint, and never stopped working. I love it.
Here's Jackson. 59 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Feeds to Lure. Offensive rebound. And, there's a whistle. He was going up for a layup. And while it looked like there was some contact, I wasn't sure they were going to call it a foul shot or not. But sure enough, they have. So he'll head to the free throw line.
One shot, mind the lanes.
That's good from Jackson. The last season for Reggie Jackson, he just couldn't get back to full strength. Missed a lot of time, Greg, as you know, with that injury to start the year. And even when he returned, his legs wouldn't cooperate and give him his usual burst and acceleration.
Yeah, and you could see it in Jackson's performance and really the numbers. Steep drop in production from what he had been putting up, and very dependent on his burst. So hopefully he can avoid any leg troubles moving forward.
Harris misses. 4 seconds separating the shot and game clocks. Butler in the corner from the wing. That's short off the rim.
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to give your offense a chance, and that possession didn't do it.
Not at all, Greg. I mean, no reason for him to be taking these kinds of shots. He has only himself to blame.
Jackson with it. And so it's the Pistons taking care of business here. A solid win on the road for them. This building was dead silent by the time, GA, this one wound down.
And that's what you want to do. Take the crowd out of it by crunch time. Don't give them any chance to lift their team up at the finish.
Thank you for joining us. That'll do it for now. For Doris Burke, David Aldridge, Greg Anthony, and the rest of our terrific 2K Sports crew, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. So long and good night, everyone.